Hi guys, it's Mary, Hard Left Yogi. So our next tutorial on how to accomplish good handstands. If you didn't see the one previously, which should be like what's going on in your mind during a handstand, because frankly, that's why we do yoga, is we're trying to get this out of this, not lift this up. All right, so we like a little lifted butt, but still, right? We definitely want our head out of it, right? So, you know, I say that I teach handstands and inversions mostly because I want people to be able to conquer their mind and how fear and challenges affect the mind and all the chemical processes. So yesterday or the previous video, I gave a little bit of how to conquer your mind, and it's really just practicing in a place that you are comfortable with and being in your happy place, right? So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is your breath throughout a handstand practice. So if you're doing this tutorial has a yoga class that goes with it. You'll notice it'll be the same postures and the same flow. Each day it has a different focus or a different theme, or a different anatomy engagement, so that by the end, say like of this handstand series, you will have approached handstands in several different ways throughout a class, approached the postures in those same ways, so that you really get a full understanding of what can all be in one class, right? So today is the breath work associated with handstands. So we've got two types of breath work that I really like to do within a handstand practice focus, right? A focus practice. So one of the breaths, which is a universal breath, it's called the Ujjayi breath. Really, the Ujjayi breath is more about the sound that your glottis makes, this little dip in your voice box area right here. It's about restricting the breath rather than like the pace and the cadence. So I could do what's called a square breath, which means that the inhale, the exhale, and the pauses in between those two are all the same count. And I could do that with the sound of Ujjayi in the background. I could do that with the same restriction at the glottis and at the bandhas, right? I could also do that square breathing without any restriction of the glottis or any restriction of the belly, and make it more of a belly breath that has square breathing attributes. So when you think about Ujjayi, you're really thinking about holding the bandhas in, breathing through the barrel of the rib cage, and restricting the flow of breath in and out by creating a circle, hollow feel at the glottis. And how do you do that? So doing an Ujjayi breath, to me, it sounds like that right before you start to snore. If the best way that I've heard it explained is, think about a water hose, right? So you turn the water hose on and it's full blast, and the water hose is just flinging water out, and the hose itself is super bendable and flexible and easily collapsed and folded in on itself, right? All right. You take that same water hose water flowing out, and you put your thumb over the end of that water hose and restrict it so that it becomes a stream of water. The hose itself then becomes more rigid and very hard to close and collapse, right? Your body is doing the same thing. So if you are controlling the breath, then all of the muscles that assist you and assist the diaphragm in taking an inhale and expressing the exhale, linked to every other muscle, when you are controlling that, it creates a stability in the core, a stability around the spine that makes it where it's still flexible and pliable. it has now some strength that it didn't have before you put the thumb over the end, right? And you can't just simply fold it and break it, right? And when you're doing some of these more powerful postures, especially like a handstand, you don't want to be able to just fold and break. You want to have enough rigidity to hold yourself up, but not so much that you become so locked in, you're just blown over. It's like a tree, you know, when you go up into a handstand, you should have the ability to have a little wavering. And just like wavering in a standing balance, like when you're standing on one foot, all the strength comes from this space. It's the same thing when you're doing a handstand. So everybody put their hand on their low belly, put their hand on their upper belly right there where it divides. Pull those spaces back and feel like there's some energy in between those. Keep this drawn back. Now feel all the air exhale out. See if you can really kind of tack that in the spine without like shifting the hips around, right? Now take that inhale in and only let the breath come down into the palm just barely. Feel the inhale come through the back ribs, the side ribs, the front of the chest, and feel it. It'll feel as though you're restricting it, making a little snoring sound at your throat, right? Now hold there for a second, and as you exhale, engage those spaces more as you restrict the breath slowly to push it out. Still making that sound. Do that a couple times. Notice how when you're restricting the belly and you're keeping all of this nice and compact and then letting the breath express through the ribs, it's almost a natural ujjayi sound that comes out. All right. Continue on. All breath in yoga is in through the nose and out through the nose, unless we tell you to do a few of them that come out through the mouth. But most of them are in through the nose and out through the nose, with the exception of two. All right, nice guys. So you might have noticed that you are getting a little warm. That's another aspect of the Ujjayi breath, is that it kind of warms you from the inside, which is another aspect that you want when you're doing your handstands. All right, the next breath is really, really beneficial to building the core of what can help you with your handstands. When you go through this class, there'll be one day that I'll really focus on that type of breath. And so we'll be doing this type of breath a whole lot throughout class, like in our planks and some of our ab movements, even when we're standing and holding postures, right? And because I'm recording the class, you might not be able to see my belly moving during the class. So I'm gonna skip. Get up and personal. All right. So, my favorite thing to show my belly on live TV. All right. So watch my belly, right? So I'm gonna inhale. See, it's still scooped back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right, so make sure you plug your nose before you start doing this. This is a breath technique that we do in a yoga practice. I equate it to like a dog sniffing. So you're doing an equal in and an equal out, right? And so when you do this, it's a forceful in and a forceful out that makes the belly, it's not blowing my belly out. It's almost like I am controlling it from pushing out and inhaling at the same time. If you take your fingers here at the top of the abdominals, you'll feel it when you inhale, almost create a dip. So, wipe your nose. So we'll be doing that throughout class, but you're not going to be able to see me necessarily doing that throughout the practice. So I want you to try that here. So I'm going to make that, and we can try it again. And really, it's as though I'm using the breath as bellows to stoke that fire, right? All right. So we will do this in plank pose and down dog and warriors, any of the poses that I've decided to pick out throughout the practice. And so expect to see this type of breathing in one of your sessions. So sitting tall, take a deep breath in. Now think of your dog sniffing. And so when you do this, you'll start to feel energized. Some of you might feel a little lightheaded. This is great for in the afternoon when you're getting that kind of afternoon lull and you can't lay down. When we do this in our ab practice, you're going to really hold that waistline taut, like you're trying to hold your belly, hold your spine upright as we go through this. So you'll see this in one of our classes. And if you have any questions, please comment below. I can go deeper into it. If you have any comments, leave them there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'd love to see you in class.